Welcome to the Dr. Henry Cecil McVeigh Center for Teaching and Learning Excellence here at Wiley University. I'm your host, Dr. Ouida McAfee, Assistant Provost of Innovation, and today we have with us Dr. Rashid Walker, Assistant Professor and Coordinator of the Master of Education program at Delaware State University. Welcome, Dr. Walker.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. And we're going to be talking about the high impact practice of AI. So that's my first question. How do you define high impact practices as it relates to AI?
Well, as high impact practices relates to I believe it is the structured and ethical integration of AI tools that measurably enhance critical thinking. And again, critical thinking and not necessarily what the AI can do for you, but critical thinking, creativity, personalization, as well as real world applications. And the ultimate result, it should be an experience where you have deep learning outcomes, improved teacher efficiency, as well as meaningful engagement with all students.
Indeed.
Mhm.
So tell us about a memorable time that you've had with the AI, something that's memorable.
One of the things that's most memorable is its very human-like response, which is typically different than what you would see in a Google search. And so it was interesting how artificial intelligence has the ability to synthesize and process information in a quasi-human fashion, but at the same time, it doesn't have the ability to critically think. It only has the ability to critically calculate information. So I thought that was very interesting.
Okay, okay. So how do you help teachers feel confident about using AI as a high impact practice?
That's a very good question, and my answer is probably a long answer, so I'll try to be as brief as I can. And I'll start with this analogy. If you were a building principal at the K-12 sector and you had a bunch of kindergartners and first graders that come into your building, and instead of sending them to the classroom, you send them to the library and say, "Hey, here's all the books you need to read to be successful. Go read." What do you think they would do? It would be very chaotic, right? And so, but what we do is we give them reading literacy first, and then we introduce them to reading. And so, I believe with artificial intelligence, we should first introduce AI literacy before we introduce AI tools, because the first thing is teachers, and end users alike, they need to understand how to flow and how to interact with the nature of AI before they can begin to feel comfortable with what it can do. So I would say what I've done in my career, in my path, is I've always started with AI literacy first. And all that is the knowledge and skills and mindsets required to understand, evaluate, and interact with artificial intelligence. And then once you have that basic understanding, now it's time to learn the language of AI, which is through prompt engineering. And all that is the strategic crafting and refining of instructions in order to get a desired outcome of the artificial intelligence. And as educators, last but not least, you need to learn how to teach with AI. So you quickly move into what is called AI pedagogy, and all that is the interaction of AI systems and trusted instructional methods to which you enhances teaching and learning experiences. And then, if I could add one more caveat to that, if you're in a provost or a president of a college university, you need some type of integration model that helps to guide that experience. And I always recommend what is called the technology acceptance model. And what it looks at is how easy is it to use the AI systems, and how usefulness it is to the individual that uses AI systems. And I think when you follow that path, you'll see rapid growth in terms of AI adoption.
Okay, give us the name of that model again, please.
It's the TAM model, the technology acceptance model.
Okay, so tell us a little bit more about the advice that you have for us at universities.
Sure. So again, I would say the best way to build teacher confidence is providing them a structured and modeling of ethical practices and offer them some type of hands-on experience. So after you've taught them AI literacy, prompt engineering, and AI pedagogy, you then need to provide them with hands-on experiences that will allow them to utilize those tools. And I think it was Edgar Dale's cone of learning. He says that people only remember 10% of what they see and 20% of what they read, but 90% of what they do. And so rather than setting up your traditional, what I call grab, get, and forget sessions, otherwise known as professional development, you need to provide them with those hands-on experiences that's going to give them that experiential learning and an attachment to the artificial intelligence experiences as quickly as possible. So if I could sum it up all in one word, teaching and learning comes first, teaching and learning always, and AI last.
Awesome. Can you give us an example
Sure. So of teaching and learning first and then teaching and learning always, or
with AI?
with AI. Okay. Well, okay, so an example of, can you be a little bit more specific?
Sure.
Mhm.
How you have used the model, the TAM model, how you have used it in your classroom.
Sure. Okay, so I don't necessarily use it in my classroom per se, but I've used it to teach other college professors how to accept the artificial intelligence framework. So in other
Okay.
words, what I do is I show them how easy it is to use the artificial intelligence. So for example, we start off with simple prompts. Please create a syllabus that will address whatever standard or whatever content area. And then I showed them how easy it is to use that. And then the usefulness part is it didn't take them an hour, 2 or 3 weeks to develop a syllabus, which they were able to do within 10 seconds. And so after they do that, then I also tell them, this is how you interact with this new syllabi. You need to also go back and make sure that the information that was produced is real and vetted. And then once you do that, you can then use the material. So that's one way I use the TAM model for syllabi creation. Another way is for assessments, for example. So after you've created an assessment, we'll prompt AI to create a case study from, let's say, chapter one of a particular text, and then also create the rubric to grade that particular case study with answer keys. And so again, how easy is it to you? It was very simple. It was like having a conversation with AI. Please do this for me. Create the syllabi, create the assessment. How useful is it? Again, they didn't have to take hours and hours and hours in order to develop the assessment.
Excellent.
Mhm.
We have been talking with Dr. Rashid Walker, Dr. Reshid X Walker. Thank you, Dr. Walker, for being with us today. And everyone, please go forth inspired. Until next time, I'm Dr. Ouida McAfee, your host.